Awesome. We'll wait a few more minutes until we have a few. Hey, Kirk, how are you?
Looking good, bud.
Good to see you. Thanks for making it.
Yeah, hey. Good to see you too.
Hey, Kirk.
Hey.
Adam,
How's
that's
it
your
going?
jewelry studio, right? Cool. All right. So we'll hang for a few more minutes, see if we can get the total number up by a few, and then we'll start sharing stuff. Anybody got any nerdy Pro Tools questions in the meantime?
I'm just wondering how many more views of Dan can I get on my screen at once?
Oh, I can get more. I have the capability of. I've had as many as 4 going for class,
Wow.
and I bought myself an adjustable iPhone holder. Can I pull it in this thing? That I can, so I can put my iPhone into the mix at any point, and then, and I also have my iPad, which also can become a screen. So, yeah, if I'm bored during class, I can, keep looking at myself.
You're looking dapper at the moment, actually.
Well, I've got my old
Oh,
technology
yeah.
shirt. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yep. And oh, I do have another nerdy thing that you guys would all probably appreciate that I just started messing with. Let's see if I can pull it into the picture. Not with that. Maybe with. No. I guess I am going to have to use my phone after all. Do you guys know what a gold digger is?
A woman that marries you for your money?
Well, what about if it was not as unpleasant as that? Let's see. I think if I.
You guys hear him? I can't hear him.
No, I don't hear him.
Nope.
How about now?
Good.
Yeah, well, I pulled one of the cables to show it to you. So it's a 4 microphone input with 4 trims and phantom power for all, and little soft buttons that you can try multiple mics. So for class, I can pull up 3 different microphones besides the one I'm using up here, which is this hypercardioid guy, and I can compare microphone types, and they're going into the same preamp with the same settings, so they can hear the difference in volume, they can hear the difference in tone. But it's extremely fun to like grab your old mics that are matching and put them up and go, oh, there is a difference between these 2 microphones. So I can actually do some troubleshooting.
I have to say, I love Steve's like redundancy setup of having earbuds plus headphones on.
Oh, I'm actually stuck in another meeting I had to do that I couldn't get out of. That I just have to be present in.
I just thought that you were making like doing a little taste test between the earbuds and the headphones.
No, it's double Sennheiser though.
Are you in
Oh,
multiple Zooms right now?
He's
Yeah,
in
one on my phone.
2 dimensions. He's in
What is your camera? It looks good.
He's in Earth 2 as
It's a
well as
Sony-
Earth 1.
Sony ZV-1, the little guy.
Okay.
I think Sean, you're echoing somehow.
Someone's echoing.
Could be me.
Oh, sorry. I have my microphone running through tape delay. Is that okay?
Yeah. Is that better? Was it me?
that
Check
was
1,
you.
2.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
That's better.
Yep. Headphones we need to have. All right. Well, it's up. One more. And it's John Weston. Awesome. John Weston, welcome.
How you doing?
Good. Happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to stay that long, but I wanted to say hi to my friends. So,
Hey, it's not Christmas without you.
Yep. Yep.
Is it your birthday today too?
no, that was a week and a half, something like that ago.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Hey,
Yeah, you spoiled me with that chair in your studio. I had to go out and get one. Shame on you.
yeah.
What kind of chair?
I heard that's on the stocking stuffer list there.
Chairs? There are some bizarre physical objects, but
Yeah.
but a chair's not one. Is it? You got a comfy chair?
It's a Herman Miller, right?
Oh, an
Yeah.
Aeron?
Yeah, Aaron. Yeah, baby.
The on, yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I've got an embody that I love. That I'm
Gotta
sitting on
relax
right
the-
now. It's peacock blue.
I'm doing relax the back.
nice.
But all right.
I have the
I like
Aeron
that.
down
Steve,
in the.
Steve pimping out Herman Miller.
Hey, Adam. Haven't seen you in
Hi.
a while.
How are you?
Great, thanks.
Happy belated birthday.
Yep.
Thank you. Happy belated birthday to everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back at you, John.
Hi.
Yep. So, what the hell? I call it a Pro Tools users group, and I'm going to share the screen, and we can start diving into all this loveliness.
Now, right, Dan,
Yeah.
when is this going to go roll until?
I mean, I'm figuring we have probably material for an hour and something.
Okay. I'm going to have to bounce at 7:30 for a bit, but I'll come back and see if you're still active here.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be here till 8:30, at least would be my guess. But
Excellent.
John just wants to leave during my presentation and then come back at the end of that. So
Actually, Sean, there's a video premiering that we got done this afternoon that I have to, I have to be on hand to accept criticism or praise. So I have to bounce to do that, and then I'll be back and see how it's going.
Hey, congratulations for finishing for the premiere.
Thank you. I have another one to do after the meeting tonight.
that's more of a common problem than you would think.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you how
Yeah.
many times that I have been mastering when the release party is that night. So, yeah, I like trying to
I
count
can't tell you the
backwards.
number of times I've had artists book a mastering session before basics.
I once had a client ask if they needed to bring all their instruments in for the mix. I said, no, that's okay.
That's
you can leave
awesome.
them at home.
Maybe you would give them something to do while you're busy, it's a distraction.
Then I asked them
the
if they had a producer and could they use one. So,
Could
Yeah.
we do a PTUG of the weirdest questions asked by clients? I think we could fill more than 2 hours with that.
Yeah.
we'll have to replace all the names with like numbers or something. Client.
Well, you don't have
and
to say
name.
who it is. You just
Yeah.
the time someone asked me what's a MIDI.
Yep.
I still don't know.
Yep.
Why
Yeah.
are you using so much IQ?
Yep.
Can't help it.
Yep.
Does
You
a
want your mix
righty,
to be dumb?
All right. I would love to go down that wormhole with you, but I think we have a topic. So, so do you guys, is that too big?
That's cool.
It shows
can
that
read it.
shows up fully?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So, I want to actually give credit where credit is due. I'm at the end of this, I'm going to share with you guys a plugin list that is so long and free that it's daunting. Like, it's tiring to look at how many links you're going to have to go look at these plugins. But I have my AES students to thank for compiling this list. They all went and did research and found plugins that they dug that worked with Pro Tools. So that, as things are wearing down, I will give you an actual PDF in the chat, and you'll be able to click on every one of those links and download just this massive collection. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that if you go to your actual Avid My Products page, Avid's dumped a bunch of stuff on us right now. So there's 2 or 3 things there that are free plugins and free sounds, some loops, a convolution reverb. So there's just free stuff waiting for you at your Avid account that no one ever goes to or thinks about unless they're upgrading. I did actually download the December 2012 version of Pro Tools, which I have on my side computer, so we can bring that up and I can show you what that looks like. And since the 11 version or 2011, there's this whole new dark mode, and it looks entirely different. But you can actually switch back to classic mode, but you have to actually restart your session to switch the view. So if you don't like one, it takes a few minutes to go back. Then I have a free plugin from JRR Shop. It's a plugin, cheap place to get plugins. And there's a link right here to this, just a really good selection of brush samples. And a lot of my students are doing like singer-songwriter, Americana kind of things, and they almost never have decent brush sounds. And this whole collection is just free and has some decent sounds in it for like light jazz or a little bit of like, trained samples on brushes on snare drums and whatnot. And then I was just going to show you this thing at KVR Audio if you don't already know about it. It's a crazy website run by people who are really passionate. You guys see the web? Can you see the website now, or is it not?
I see a lot of white.
I feel like I'm in John Oliver's white void.
Sharing is paused. I don't want to be paused. I'm going to do that again and go to this. How do you see it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So this is KVR Audio. They recently changed their interface, which is a little bit of a drag. But if you go to plugins and then look on the left side, this is how you can sort what you want to see. And so if you look up, let's say you're looking for just effects, you can basically turn off everything but effects. Then you can go, I want it on a Mac. Then you can say, I want it only for AAX, but you could also do it for Logic or for whatever. And then the entire website changes to be a list. Now, what I like, and my students really like, is click free. And suddenly you have, all right, submit search. All right, 12 pages of plugins with this many plugins on each page. All right, so some of the stuff that I'm sharing with you did come from here, but stuff gets updated here all the time, and a lot of companies use it as a loss leader kind of place where they put up, smaller versions or new versions to beta test or whatever, and it's just so deep. Like, a few years ago, my students were like, but there are more plugins in Logic and there are more virtual instruments. And I'm like, it's not an issue anymore. There's too much. There are too many compressor plugins. There are too many, it's just ridiculously deep. But if you can be very specific. You can go, I want reverbs. And look, there are 338 reverbs on this site. And then if you just go to the Pro Tools ones, there's still, Christ. Wait, I didn't say free. All right. Free. Let's see how many we got.
Advanced submit search.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you. All right, so there's still pages and pages of reverbs. So it's a glut. It's not like anything we've ever had before. I think it's true of microphones for sale. I think it's true of books on Pro Tools. I think it's true. Like, we're in this place where filtering is more important than access. But I'm going to share this list that my students have vetted, and I haven't even gone through all of them. There's too many. It's 3 pages of single line links. So, Merry Christmas. But let's go back to this. All right. So you guys seeing that anymore? No, I got to stop share, and then I got to share again. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. So, but KVR Audio is just a deep dive. If you want to waste some time and look for some stuff, it's great. It's really fun. All right. Sean wants to show these 3 things.
So it's over to me now.
Well, I'm not going to go completely to you. I was going to say do shapeshifter, and then I'll show something, and then you can set up for management, and then
I'm already set up for all these. So
okay,
you just
right.
tell me.
All
I'll do whatever.
As you can see on you guys can see the left side of my screen with a little list of stuff, or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a few things to demonstrate, and a lot of them aren't actually plugins. So we'll just go back and forth.
All right. Let me unshare your screen for me, please.
Yes.
Awesome. And I will share. There we go. So the first one that I wanted, there are a lot of great plugins out there that are cheap or free. One of which I'm going to show. By the way, for those of you who use Valhalla stuff, Valhalla DSP, they've just updated Supermassive, which is their new sort of like wacky reverb delay thing that is just awesome. So let me recommend that right off the bat. And this first plugin, you gotta love the user interface. It's beautiful. This is by a company called Aberrant Audio. This is Shapeshifter, and this thing is $20. And I'm just gonna like play the audio and turn this thing on and start going crazy.
Whose session is this?
Well, this is an artist named Phil Pacino.
Oh yeah.
And this
Cool.
is Mike Levesque on drums, and I'm just gonna play like the mono kit track and kind of go crazy with it.
Cool.
Although, you know what helps? When you actually share the Audio Movers link so you can hear what's going on.
Wow.
That helps. We'll give everyone a second.
I started hearing it louder at first, but it seems pretty soft.
I see
I can
numbers.
barely hear anything.
I can see numbers moving, but I don't hear sound. But let me.
Everyone got the link? Did I start transmission? I hope I did.
Yes, you did. Actually, I hear
did.
volume changes.
I heard it quite well, I thought.
Yeah, I did.
All right. Then I don't know what's wrong with the rest of you guys. I'm going to keep going.
Got it now.
Check.
I found there's a little bug if you're using Sonarworks that with Audio Movers you have to sometimes toggle Sonarworks off and back on to get it to come through.
Guys, I'm going to use this opportunity to see. I'm going to check in later, enjoy it. Looks really cool, Sean. I'll check it out soon. Take care, man.
What?
Put it back.
I know it's cool, right?
Yeah.
So this thing, Benny Grotto actually turned me onto this. He was like, "You have to check this out. It's $20." And I demoed it for like, I want to say a minute, and just said, "Screw it. This is worth way more than $20. I could probably mix a whole record with just that thing."
Reminded me of the Wolf compressor for a second.
The Wolf is awesome. So the Good Hertz, the good people at Good Hertz, make a series of really cool things like the Faraday limiter and all this stuff. But the Wolf compressor is kind of their flagship, and I think like their coolest thing. This thing does really similar things to it. I think this has more, like with the transient shaper, you're able to kind of get more aggressive on the transients, like just focus on the transients, and it's pretty cool. So that in itself is just a little kind of cool and different. But it's also cheaper than the Wolf compressor. That thing's like $350 and this thing's like 20. So that's my first plugin to share, everybody.
Nice.
And now it's up to Dan.
You can spend $20 on like a bad movie and some like popcorn and stuff.
I just spent $20 on Tenet, and I still don't know where I am.
So,
but
we both did see
that company makes another plugin that's equally priced and amazing. It's Sketch Cassette, and it's like a
Sketch Cassette.
Yeah, super fun. Yeah,
I haven't even tried it out yet.
Yeah, same thing. Demo it, and then you'll buy it. You'll want to use it all over.
Nice.
So, I have a few Waves plugins just because when they get cheap enough, then I start getting interested in them again.
$29.99.
And these three are all $29.99, and all kind of dependable, easy to use things. This is besides Phoenix and what other ones? One of the UAD Studers. Those are probably my three favorite tape saturation units. And this is attempting to be the old Beetle tape deck. Along those lines, I like this, which is their Abbey Road kind of all-in-one treatment. Any one of these is actually fairly potent in flavor, so you don't really have to use all of it. And I'd recommend not using all of it. So like sometimes I'll just use this guy. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of this, but it's not bad as a kind of Pultec at the end of your mixing process kind of thing. And then this is really basic, but hard to screw up with. When students come to me and they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing with compression, I like to give them something with as few knobs as possible that is fairly going to yield a pretty good result. And this is one of the easy ones to do that with. So I dig this one too.
The thing that's helpful with that too is it's got a high pass side chain on it.
Yeah.
So it's really cool for that.
Yep. And you can actually change the flavor too, which is nice. What else did I want to say? I've also been I don't have pictures of them, but I've been messing with the Leapwing plugins, and their stereo plugin is freaky interesting. It's not mid-side. It's not back channel feeding back in. It's totally fine with going mono, and it has a very interesting way of separating items in a very natural way. So if any of you guys are looking for something like that, their plugins are really interesting. And I'm trying to get them to actually do a demo for us and maybe do a PTUG deal. Because I went to go be on their educational board, so I'm trying to pull them in to give you guys something good, because I don't want them to be so expensive. But and nobody's really using them yet, so nobody really knows about them. So it'd be good to kind of get the word out and have people understand what they do. They're not the prettiest things in the world. They're one of those companies that makes all of their plugins look the same, and I don't think that that's tantalizing compared to, I think one of the reasons that UAD is doing so well is they're modeling these beautiful old pieces of gear, and it makes us feel nostalgic, and it doesn't change the sound, but it certainly keeps us interested. Guiltily, I like looking at the cool GUI. So the ones that are just like straight up sliders up and down and no color changes, I'm like,
Yeah, they do all look the same.
yeah,
It's like $149 cost.
Yeah, but I
till
think
January.
But yeah, as I said, I'm going to try to get some deals out of them. But yeah, all right. You want to go back and do the panning one?
That's up to you.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. All right. So there's a company called Auburn Sounds that makes this thing called Panagement, and it's not really a panning thing. It's kind of a different type of plugin. And let me open it on up.
Did they name it that for a good reason?
I don't think so. Although it does do some cool like tilty panny stuff. So here is a group of background vocals. Now that's completely dry. And now we'll add some of this. And how about I just start? I'll pull up some kind of cool.
Wait, Sean, can you explain completely dry? Because that didn't sound quite dry on my end. What is?
It sounded like crazy, tuning and
Oh, it's tuned,
harmonized.
But was there some other stuff going on there?
Nope. Nope. Just a little EQ and compression going on.
Was it mono for you guys?
I feel like I might be hearing just bleed instead.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think I was just hearing bleed and not the thing. So can you play that again?
I can.
Let me see if I got the thing up. And maybe mute your speakers.
It's better.
Whoa. Yeah, there's like a ringing in those high notes at the end.
I've got synth warmer on the high notes.
Okay, all right.
So it's distorting the crap out of everything.
Yeah, there's like some distortion, harmonic stuff going on.
Yep.
Fizzly or fuzzy.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I want it to be fuzzy, damn it.
I mean, It sounded awesome. It sounded cool. That's why I was just, when you said it was dry, I was confused by that. That's all.
When I think dry, wet and dry, I think time-based things. So I'm going to just start messing with some stuff here. So we've got some delay control. We've got some reverb control. We can actually mess with the, with the space, with the sound stage of it. And I'll just start doing some things. So there's a lot of cool things. I didn't even really get into messing too much with the verb and delay. I just was like kind of messing around with the soundstage a little bit in the LFL a little bit. But this thing is, I mean, I've used this for pads. I've used this for like big guitar beds. I've used it for obviously background vocals. It works great if you're trying to create this otherworldly type of thing. I first think I saw this, like, I think I saw a thing of Chad Blake using this on something and checked it out. And this is, I'm going to take a look right now, but I believe this is a free with suggested donation plugin. And they have a couple of others that I haven't totally messed with yet. This is the one that I just kind of dove in on. And it's, yeah, so there's a free edition and the full edition is $39. And for me, well worth the money.
Can you sync the LFO? I missed if you said that. Sorry.
I don't know if you can, I think that's what this is all for.
Oh, yep.
So, yeah, you can have all sorts of fun with this. So yeah, I've been kind of enjoying this one for a few months. Yeah, I mean, the versatility is just incredible.
Mostly vocals and guitars?
Pads, strings, anything that I want to sound like it doesn't belong on Earth. Mm-hmm. It does like a really cool job of it. And, just kind of sometimes just like, in this case, I just made a bus of the background vocals and said, yeah, I could really do something with this and, make it feel like it's coming from outer space.
It sounds like what I reach for, like crystallizer going into a plate reverb.
Yeah.
It's kind of the realm of use. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although crystallizer does have some of the, like, crystallizer distorts in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
In like more of a mid-rangey type way, whereas this just feels like it scoops.
Yeah. This feels like a little more lo-fi, playful that way, as opposed to crystallizer, which feels more like a backwards.
Yeah.
Good for reversing.
I think of this one as like lo-fi high precision.
Cool.
Just because you can kind of really go crazy with it.
Yeah. Nice.
So I will stop that for now.
All right. Okay. I'm going to move on to some just cheap, cool things for stocking stuffers that are audio related. This beast is what I use to put all my mics away.
Oh.
Okay? Like, if you want a soft landing for a lot of different mics in a closet hanging up and use not a lot of space and be able to lock the closet, this is dope. And they're cheap as hell. And so, like, literally in my closet in that room, every one of those is a mic or a pair of mics. And a few of them are, like, mic clips. And it's awesome.
Few of them are shoe mics?
Yeah, they're shoe mics. Right. Yep. And some odor eaters with some of them, yeah. So, and this one actually I stole from Andy Hong. He wrote about these in Tape Op. These are stretchable drawers you can put into anything to put valuable objects that you don't want getting scraped up. So they have a nice rubber soft bottom. And so you can put your nice microphone down on this thing and not worry about it. When you pull out the drawer, it doesn't bang into another mic and it doesn't scrape it. And they're made for like spoons and forks and all that kind of stuff, but they're awesome for lots of mechanical things or things that you want to take sweet care of in a drawer that might otherwise hurt things. And this one is actually stretchable, so the ones on the ends become a little bigger for bigger mics and whatnot. This one So these keep coming down in price. There's some ones that are even cheaper than this, but I use these all the time for measuring how far I am from my speakers, getting sight alignment with angles of the sides of speakers. I use them for measuring my distance to my overheads. And they go like 65 feet. So you can be in a pretty big space and still use this. And I think it resolves down to like 1/8 of an inch, which is totally awesome for.
What is a cat benefit?
Oh, if you have a cat, this is the toy, because the laser points at a little dot on the ground, and your cat goes nuts for, like, you know, even my dog. My dog to this day has no idea what that thing is and will just go absolutely crazy chasing the little dot, whether I put it on the wall or behind him or on his butt, and he'll like go in circles. It's fantastic.
I've played with cats with laser pointers, but this will tell me how far the cat is away from
at the same time. Yep. Yeah. And, you know, if you're having a discussion with your wife about where to plant that tree, this is a good one. All right. So, but they're so cheap now, and they're good. They're really accurate. All right. This one I got this year. Really stupid, but really awesome.
Oh, cool.
It's right next to me. It is has these headphones on it. And you can basically attach it to anything, a desk or whatever is around, and that little thing flips down and flips up. So when you don't have something on it, you flip it up, and then you don't bang into it with your hip. You know,
how big is the space?
It is. I can show you. I can take it off. I'm gonna detach it just for you.
Nice.
So, and then this thing goes away.
Measure it with the laser pointer.
Yeah, right. And so this is what are these? MDR V6s. There's a space. You could put a bigger thing on there, but it's great. So, you know, and the parts that you screw together are rubber coated, so they don't hurt anything. So it's kind of a no-brainer, and yeah, I want more of them.
I need one that's like a cup holder.
Do they make?
Yep, they make those.
Do they make one that's not a like a screw, one that you can like permanently install?
Sure. Sure. You can screw it in. Yeah.
I need some for these things.
Yeah. Mine are hanging on a flying turtle.
I have like a bunch of pairs for different lengths. Both of them.
All right. So let's do another one. Very important. Non-digital sticky stocky stuff. And to go one step further, the non-digital sticky stocking stuffer to write on. This is the only tape that doesn't leave like nasty stuff all over your gear. I've tried a bunch of them, and this is the one that seems to work the best for me. It's a little expensive for a roll of tape, but I don't want to leave. I don't want to be goo-goning all my gear all the time. All right. So why don't you do more, and then I got a couple more categories here. You got another?
Okay.
Great.
All right. All right. So the next batch of things is from a company called Baby Audio, and some of their plugins are free. They do have a four plugin package that's $120, but I think what I have here are the free ones. Spaced Out, Super VHS, and Magic Switch. I don't know if Super VHS is free or not. Spaced Out, I think I just got for like $30. So I don't really know this plugin all that well, but we're going to learn. We're going to learn today. It'll be fun. So let me just mute myself here. I'll bypass and then I'll kick it in and kind of go a little crazy with it.
circle with the yellow dot have anything to do with location?
Does the circle with the yellow dot have anything to do with location? We'll find out. I don't know. I literally just got this thing and started messing around with it. So I think that answers the question no.
It kind of reminds me of the movie I would recommend you guys all seeing. I just saw Echoes in the Canyon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Which is Jacob Dylan's kind of love song concerts to the singer-songwriters between 66 and 68. So if you're into the singer-songwriter thing, it's great. They do interviews with Jackson Browne and Tom Petty and Roger McGuinn and Brian Wilson, and but it's a modern band of like Fiona Apple and Beck and a bunch of people playing songs from that era. And Dave Way is the engineer,
awesome,
who does a killer job.
Sean, I have a question. Was that last track? I'm sorry, I had the Zoom audio muted so there wouldn't be a delay. Was that panned on one side mostly?
Yeah, it's panned on the right side.
Okay, yeah.
I can pan it center for our purposes. And then we'll check out Super VHS because this thing's awesome and weird.
We don't hear anything. Or at least I don't.
I don't either.
You guys aren't hearing anything? I didn't stop my stream.
I hear you just fine.
Yeah, what the heck's going on with you guys?
Yeah, stream's still connected.
I hear your voice perfectly fine.
Play again?
Well,
I hear it. Right there.
Nothing.
We can hear your mouse clicking.
Yeah.
you cannot hear my mouse clicking because I was on mute. So you're hearing someone else's mouse click.
I could hear the track.
All right. I don't know what to tell everybody.
I'd like to hear that mouse click though.
How's this? Hear that? Pretty quiet. I don't know what to tell anybody that can't hear it, but some of you can hear it and the others can't. I don't know what to say.
Maybe close the window and click on the link again.
I can do that. I can resend the link too.
Oh, I mean for the people who couldn't hear, maybe them close that browser tab and click on the link again. Reset it.
That was wild.
Are you playing now?
I am not, but I will.
I think it may have been because I was in Safari and it wasn't auto playing, and now I'm in Google and it probably will, or Chrome. Yeah. It was Safari. Chrome's better.
Wait, are we on something other than...
What are you asking me?
We're on Audio Movers. Are you listening
Yeah.
via Zoom?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about audio
Oh,
movers.
go to the chat window and take that
Oh God.
link and put it into Chrome, and you'll be a happier boy because you'll get stereo.
Just click on it.
Yep.
It should just open up.
Well, if you just click on it, sometimes it opens Safari, which needs
And
to
that it did.
adjust its auto.
Oh, I'm
delay.
sorry. I don't use that. I use Firefox,
There you go.
which works perfect.
I have a question for everyone. When Sean is playing the audio, are you muting your Zoom?
Someone's not.
I am to prevent echoes.
Mostly.
Yeah, I was too, but I was also, that echo that I was hearing an echo, so I was like leaving the Zoom audio. Is there a way to just mute Zoom like temporarily?
Yeah, everyone's got to mute their own Zoom.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's all mute the Zoom while the stuff is going to prevent that echo.
I feel like I've listened to this a whole lot already. But basically, that's what it does. It creates like
It's
tape
cool.
warble and modulation and some really cool things, along with the free version, which is just the magic switch. This thing's great. So a free awesome modulation effect, everybody. Who doesn't love a free awesome modulation effect? Now, the last baby audio thing I wanted to show was
So the magic button is free, but the other one is part of the.
the other
bundle?
one's like part. You can get them all for like they're $30 each or something like that, but like or $40 each. But they do a package for like $120. Now, this is the I Heart New York. Get it? It's a heart. Get it? It's funny.
New York
and-
style compression.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So let's give this a listen here.
Are you getting
So-
like a
It's pretty basic.
major delay?
Am I getting a major delay?
I was getting a.
Sean, you didn't mute your.
Oh, I
your
didn't mute
audio
myself.
this time.
Let me. So basically, parallel compression all in one box with 2 knobs and a slider.
And some good pumpy breathy effects.
Yeah, like so. I use this on piano all the time to help bring up some of those quieter dynamic parts without, making them smack you in the face and without completely limiting everything. This thing works great on pianos. So Baby Audio, that's one that Zach, my studio partner here, kind of showed off for me. And I've been using their stuff ever since. There are actually, I have a link for it that I wanted to share in the chat here. So this is just the freebies. Baby Audio, baby.odd.io, babyodd.io/freebies. There's also one I wanted to share for those of you that were at our last, these are plugins that we love thing. DDMF makes the Magic Death Eye compressor, my favorite vocal compressor in the world. And they also have a bunch of free stuff. So there's a link for all their free stuff. And some that I saw in Dan's free plugin list were the Hornet plugins. Those are actually really cool. And one that's cheap but not free, Black Rooster makes some stuff. So there's a link to their stuff too.
So while we're dumping in the mother load,
yeah,
I'm going to dump in mine too.
Please.
So this is a PDF. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
It is massive, and will take you some time to digest. Certainly past Christmas. All right, so I got a few more nerdy objects to show off here. Let's see. So I think that the biggest thing that has happened in our lives with COVID is our dependency on communicating with people through our computers, and whether that's working or not working. And so I've spent way more time than normal helping people with their Macs and trying to get their systems to run well for teaching or for collaborating or for whatever. So the things that, to me, that have made the biggest bang for the buck change are some simple things. One is using Ethernet. So I don't know how many of you guys are actually using Wi-Fi for your connection, but the difference between when I use my Wi-Fi and when I use my Ethernet connection is literally 220 megabits per second when I use Wi-Fi and 950 when I'm using Ethernet.
I literally just tested that right before this.
Right. So we're
and
talking,
it was definitely higher.
Yeah. So depending on who I go to and help, it's 2 to 4 times faster. 4 times is just amazingly different. It's a different experience. Zoom is not cranky. Audio gets better, all that stuff. And Ethernet cable is not expensive. This is is it 50 foot? Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. This is a 50-foot cable. Any of these colors are available, and it's under $10.
Wow.
Okay. So Ethernet should play a big role. Now, if you don't have an Ethernet connection on your laptop, for $20, you can have 3 more USBs and a gigabit Ethernet. Right? So it's not like teachers are like, oh, I don't want to spend the money. I'm like, it's $30 to do the 2 of these, and your life changes. It's so much faster. So the pricing of those cables, I mean, the other thing is that, we're in this period of change in terms of audio where the world has basically said, oh, let's run audio through Ethernet. AVB, Dante, Ravenna, Metric Halos 3D, the new Carbon interface from Pro Tools is AVB. So And why? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to if you can get a one of these cables for $10 and run downstairs to another room in your house and not run, 40 channels of Mogami at an expense that's like 25 or 30 times more expensive, and get, and be able to move a box down there and have 96K 24-bit audio all day long and have as many channels as you want. It's kind of a no-brainer. So I've been experimenting with it in my studio. I'm about to expand some stuff in my studio, and I'm definitely going to use, I think, Dante. But, they're all of them are strong. It's not like AVB or Dante or Ravenna or CobraNet or, there's a few of them. They're all kind of related. The new AES 67 standard. So it makes sense to start kind of playing with these things, even if on a small scale. And they're starting to be cheaper interfaces that allow you to do this. But if you're moving into a new space, putting an Ethernet cable through the wall is way easier than putting a 24 channel anything. And it's just an easy mechanism. It's kind of changing our world. So whether you're putting this in to get faster internet and have better connections to people, or whether you're doing it to extend your whole studio world, it's easy and it's fun. So that stuff's cool. And we could, I think we'll probably do at some point audio over IP night for you guys, because it's so tantalizing and fun. And now that Carbon is the new Pro Tools interface, and it's running that way. I'm using, one of the interfaces I'm using is a Focusrite that has both the old Digi HDX plugins and Dante, so I can extend stuff from a old HDX rig into Dante and back. It's pretty deep and flexible. So, but just for internet, I'm going to connect and have a cable in a few places where I can connect quickly and have much more robust internet. It's absolutely awesome. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much where I wanted to end up tonight.
Thanks.
Do you guys all got that the plug-in thing, and it's all working? You see all the links? It's all functional? Good. Yeah, I have to give some props to the AES students, because they've been actually, hardcore meeting every week in spite of not being together, and trading Pro Tools tips with each other and stuff. It's been pretty awesome. So the fact that they all went out and did research and tried a bunch of plugins and then brought them to each other was pretty great.
Could I ask a question at this point?
Yeah, absolutely.
All you pros in the audience there? I have an old Mac Pro I'm working off of and a new Mac Mini, and I've been trying to use an external hard drive between the two. In a shared environment in the beginning, that was a disaster. And then I just started using a switch to switch that hard drive, and that works okay. But still, there are permission issues. So if I'm working off of the Mac Pro, although it's still a Bill Judd account, and then I go to the Mac Mini, which is a Bill Judd account, there's permission issues always if I create it on one, open on the other, and vice versa. What's a better way to have a mini, some sort of a system, shared drives? That's spending a fortune to do it.
In general, the idea that two CPUs are talking to the same drive directly is a nightmare. Mostly because whenever a CPU sees a drive, it claims it as it belonging to it. And then the minute you connect it to another thing that says, no, that's mine. And there's literally a fight that goes on there for permissions and ownership. So,
okay, so how do I get out of that? Make a network sometime?
Is the goal to have shared content, or is it to have like you want to do sessions on both?
Actually, I only want to do sessions on the Mac Mini. That's the newest with all the new gear from Parsons. Thank you, Rick. But I like the old Mac Pro just because it's a comfortable workstation to work at. It's actually lower. The other one's higher. You can kind of see it behind me. There's keyboards and everything. So everything's raised up. So that's fine for grabbing sessions. But if I want to mix later, I'd rather mix at the old Mac Pro because it's fully maxed out. It's fully loaded. It's plenty fast, enough CPUs. So if I could have a drive somewhere that each one of these computers can talk to, and you can work off of each computer without causing it to always, like you say, claim permissions. There's got to be a way that works.
So
I don't know.
the way I'm transferring stuff back and forth between my drives that are shared is through I'll show you. I'll share. So you guys can see my desktop now. So I don't want that anymore. Can you guys see this over here, the Google Drive?
Yes.
So I have a fairly large Google Drive that I can drop a session onto from any of my internal drives, and then any of my computers can access that same Google Drive.
At that point, couldn't you do like a NAS rig instead of having to go through Google, so it's more direct?
Well, it is local. So, but it's not actually, when I'm doing the transfers, it's not behaving like it's going to Google.
It's not like oh, okay, that's cool.
It's much faster than that. And basically that's an app you download from them, and then you create a space that's for that. And then you can, you could do it with Dropbox too, but on Dropbox, you're basically declaring whether something's local or if it's in the cloud. And when you click on something, you actually have to say, okay, it's local, and then I can use it robustly. And if it's in the cloud, then I have to wait for it to kind of change statuses.
Right.
So
the Google Drive is, let's say I had a 2 terabyte really fast SSD hooked up to the Mac Mini. I could claim that as the Google Drive, then use that for all of my kind of local to me to be able to access that from each computer.
Yeah, but I'd like to test that theory. I don't run sessions from the Google Drive. So the highest order Pro Tools demanding stuff doesn't happen on that drive. It's just, okay, I know I'm going to work on my laptop. I'm going to put it on there, and then it's there. The other thing I would say is, so what is the connection to drives on the Mac Mini and on the Mac Pro right now?
Right now, there's not. Well, there's a shared drive, but I stopped trying to do it that way. It would work good in terms of being able to access all the files, but the permissions would change. If I was on one computer, I'd be working on a session, like you say, it claims it, and then you go back to the Mac Mini, and the permissions are all screwed up. And then whatever you do here, you go back, and those things can be kind of weird too.
Yeah,
so it's almost like you have to copy it, start over on that hard drive, then copy it back, start over again. It just seems like there must be a way. I hate to use the word Microsoft in any crowd, but how things can be on servers and anybody can work on any Excel file or Word file.
They make very expensive NAS shared devices that give you that kind of speed, but the way they're connected is faster for both computers, right?
Okay.
So you're either working through gigabit drives for both units, or it might be just simpler for you to have a mobile drive that you can move. That would make it extremely easy. And then if you want a backup system, you use the Google Drive or the Dropbox thing. But the actual work drive, when you're done working on one, you pull it to the other. So what I was going to ask is there Thunderbolt on the Mac Mini or USB 3?
Yes.
Right? But there isn't on the Mac Pro. Is the Mac Pro a cheese grater?
Yes, it is.
All right. So here's a really interesting thing. I hacked my 2009 cheese grater to work with Thunderbolt.
I've seen some of those Hackintosh things to do that with 2010s and 12s. I've been a little afraid to do that.
So this is not a big scary thing to do, especially if you have the one. So literally, I added a one slot card, a PCI card, to my 2009 cheese grater, and it has 2 connections for a USB-C essentially.
Okay.
And I have connected Thunderbolt drives and Thunderbolt UAD and Thunderbolt Sonnet boxes to those, and they work.
Oh, cool! And it works.
Yeah, and the card came from a guy who basically takes an off-the-shelf PCI unit and puts his own software on it, and it worked. The only quirky thing about it is if you have multiple devices on it, you have to restart a few times to get them all to show up. But if you only have one device on it, it's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I have.
And once it shows up, it's fine. So
I have 8 devices hooked up to this
Right.
old cheat grater. So.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, if you look at my.
But how would that solve my permissions issue?
Well, it would just mean that you could connect a nice fast drive and be up and running in minutes and have that be your work drive. And then when you want to, drag stuff off to back it up. But you can't, but that's way cheaper than, I mean, to get into the network storage that works well with Pro Tools, I haven't really seen stuff that's not like buying a whole nother computer.
Yeah, that's crazy for me.
Right. So if you were a film house and said you were doing this between 2 stations and you wanted to run Pro Tools on 2 massive rigs all day long, and you're willing to spend $2,000 for a shared drive system, then that's what it, I don't think you can get into that for under $1,000 really.
Okay.
With fast drives and all that, but you can get an SSD that's awesome. That would connect to that for $300 to $500 and have it be your work drive and move it around when you want to. So
could I bug you about this a little bit later? I feel
absolutely.
like I'm holding everybody up
Sure.
to my personal issue.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for your patience, everybody. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So I'll
I was going to show you guys Pro Tools 2012.
Speaking of drives, has anyone had experience with Avastor?
I have not.
Avast?
Avastor?
No, I've used the virus protection Avast.
No, it's Avastor, I think is the brand. I just bought one.
It's a drive?
The drive that has I don't know what the chip is, but it has every connection on it. I bought it to...
Is it working?
Yeah, it seems awesome right now. I transferred old things to it to work on because I was worried about the drives that the old stuff was on. So
everybody seeing that? So, I mean, Sean was using what, 2011?
Yep.
So this is 2012. It also, so some of the nifty new features is it includes a version of Melodyne, which certainly my students are freaking about. They love that. And it does both drag audio to MIDI and drag MIDI to audio.
That's hot.
Yeah. So it'll do an audio analysis and put that into a MIDI transcription via Melodyne. Or if you've got a MIDI track that is taking up a lot of energy doing something like Native Instruments, you can just drag it to an equal channel sized audio track and it instantly places it there. You don't have to bounce the whole thing or anything. So there's enough RAM and kind of virtual energy put into the what is this virtual instrument making that you can instantaneously make it a piece of audio. So in terms of our workflow and being able to store stuff and make it permanent and then turn off a bunch of plugins and then do more intense stuff and then turn off a bunch of stuff. There's like just so many ways of doing that now. Plus, there's a lot of pilfering. You know, you can take, I mean, Melodyne's so deep in terms of ripping off rhythmic patterns or melodic patterns that you literally can go in and, you know, circle the violin part in a Zeppelin song and then turn that into a MIDI performance and change its key and then invert it. You know, like, and everybody's like, well, where'd you get that? I'm like, you know, it was Zeppelin. So it makes keeping stuff proprietary almost impossible to what's going on. There's also a really fun Michael Brower video on the web right now where he was given a 2-track to remix, and he uses RX and divides it into drums, guitars, and vocals, and then remixes a 2-track.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's pretty damn effective at really reducing it to just drums, to just guitars, others for keyboards and vocals. It takes some time and some finesse at doing it, but it changes the whole face of mastering. Really, kind of becomes mixing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of agree with you. I think it's not right away. There's a lot of colors coming at me, and it's hard for me to kind of focus in and see exactly what I want. So I'm not sure if I'm tantalized by the fact that it looks pretty.
The problem is that when you switch back,
yep, it looks really boring.
It hurts your eyes.
Oh.
And then, I mean, I don't know. It all hurts my eyes. I'm old now.
So that's probably the whole point, is like the late night sessions, and you're dimming your screen anyway. And
yeah,
I think the whole point was, how can we get this to look like Logic?
No, they weren't that dumb.
Yeah, they were.
No, they're trying.
They've been that dumb in the past.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to make it look darker and hipper. I mean, the entire Macintosh system has gone to dark mode, so it stuck out like a sore thumb. I do think that the new logo is really ugly.
Yes.
Apple, the purple flat thing. It looks like they went back like 15 years in logo design. But that really doesn't affect anything. Oh, I know. There was one more thing I wanted to show you guys. Talk about free, cool stuff. How many of you guys have an iPad? That is the free control app in Pro Tools.
It's nice.
You download it and it works. Okay, you just got to be on the same network. It is multi-touch, so I can screw up my mixes with 2 fingers, not looking, and change my, so you can actually do fader moves. Also, it's got heavy duty soft key stuff to do. It's got, you can fix a fader to one position and then spread the rest. You can have it just look at all your VCAs. You can have it just look at all your subs. You can, it's really pretty nifty, and for something that they just give you for free, it's very powerful.
Hold on, that's without owning a physical. You're not controlling a physical surface. You're just talking right to Pro Tools.
Yeah.
From the iPad.
Yeah, you see my Pro Tools on there, right? You can see I'm moving the fader. You can see you see Pro Tools, right? Not just me, right?
You're talking through Yukon.
Yeah, what's hip about it is that it's Wi-Fi. I'm just on the same network as my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I had to install the Yukon, backplane in the laptop, and then it sees it if it's on the same thing. And I can go to different places in the session. I can, show all the tracks at once.
I thought this whole time it was limited to controlling a physical controller.
No. This is a controller now.
Oh,
It's got transport. So, hey, guess what? If my Wi-Fi reaches down to my basement where my drums are, I take this with me. I can look at the levels. I can say, loop here, record, enable these tracks, don't enable these tracks, right? So it really becomes a very powerful animal. And it's well done. This is not dumb.
Is that the only view, the faders and whatever is above them? Or
No,
I can have the editing window.
I can take you through some more. There we go. Okay, so you guys can see all that? I'll take you through the windows. So that's the mixer window, and you can actually move and bank by just moving that strip across.
That's cool.
And those colors match the colors in Pro Tools, so you can help you kind of get through that stuff. There's a transport at the bottom. It's very obvious, right? And there's a soft key window. So you can pull up all those like very intense editing cues that you would like to do, and you can even create your own banks. So you can create a, like I'm gonna be doing some post coming up, and I've got to do a bunch of Foley placement. I'm gonna put a bunch of nudge features in there and import features that are gonna allow me to bring in more stuff and even locate stuff. All right. So then the next one is tracks, which is literally just a list of all the tracks. And if you look at the bottom, see those colored things? So if I want to solo something, I hit the solo button first, and then I hit the track. If I want to, mute something, I hit that, and then I hit the track. So I can basically do those commands on the fly. Then there's a channel, which includes a surround panner, and you can insert stuff. So you've got a thing for insert, dynamics, EQ, and it brings up what you've got engaged. And it even shows you groups. It's fairly deep. All right. So then there's meters. So if I hit play over here. Excuse me. Then I've got the soft keys, which this is where the editing thing gets really deep. So I already have an S3. So that's where all my fader moves are. But with this thing, I can put it next to it, and voila, I have a whole bunch of soft keys, and I can basically build banks of things that are handy to me. And then there is monitoring, which actually doesn't matter to me because I don't have a monitoring setup that's Pro Tools controlled. But if I did, that's how I would do the, Armon and all those other controlling devices that you do through Pro Tools. But I don't have a, maybe that would be helpful if I was doing surround potentially and I was using their system for that. But the soft key stuff is just, it's even a good learning tool because you can go through all the different commands and go, oh, that's what that command does. So there's enough commands in there that I still am learning stuff. Oh, that reminds me. There was one more thing I wanted to show you guys. This. Also an app that I would totally recommend. This is just the... Okay, so it's absolutely besides Quizlet, which I can build my own tests in, this is my favorite off-the-shelf, learn Pro Tools shortcuts tool. And what's cool about it is, so you can pick your subjects, so you can kind of hone in on the things you don't know and rehearse those. But also, once you're in, you can pick the style of keyboard you have. So it shows you this is the extended keyboard mode, but there's another one for laptops. So when my students are studying, they can put on the laptop version, and basically, and then it tests you, and it puts aside the ones you don't know. So they stockpile into a little list of things that you can go over. So it's great. It's great. It's totally. My only complaint is I don't do it enough. But the mechanism is spot on.
And where do you get that?
That's also just an app on the App Store, and it's just called. What's it called? It's called
Pro Tools Shortcuts.
Yeah, and it gives you this nice sound when you get it wrong. So, yeah, and so you skip through them, and yeah, but yeah, it's great. It'll up all of your games, no matter how good you are. You'll find an area that you don't totally know. I mean, there's thousands of Pro Tools shortcuts, so depending on what you want to be good at, you can really hone in on. Oh, I want to be good at nudging or editing or pulling in content or whatever. You know, it's deep. So.
Hey, on that Pro Tools controller there.
Yeah.
How much control do you have over plugins? Like,
so if you want to pull up a channel and then let's see. I wish there was more. I mean, my fantasy is that, you know, when you go to the 224 lexicon, it shows you a lexicon 224 and gives you the sliders and the controls.
right.
Nobody's doing it that well, but I think we're poised for that.
Big strength, if I could share it with you.
Yeah, please.
Is I write most of my own material and record my own instruments. So when I'm on drums, I used to use a remote keyboard for that, and that's okay. But this on this pad is great to use this application for that. Or if I want to get an isolation booth and do something, I still have control in terms of start and stop, sliders. I can go from one bank to the other just as quick as he was, so you can do a whole lot more with it. And like you said, it's free. So if you have an iPad Pro, just install Yukon and install the app on your iPad, then go back to Pro Tools. Go back to Yukon on your machine. It's going to show it as an available unit, and you attach it to Pro Tools. It's just that quick. You hit an arrow, move it over, and you're good. Or at least that's how simple it was for me.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah, I wanted to show you a plugin that is in here and see what I can pull up. Channel. Okay, so here are the tape delay settings on the where you have, those are really sends, it's not the inserts. So this is showing me, you know, the two inserts on the channel. So you've got but if I want to go into the Purple Audio and edit it, yeah, I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to get it to display. But yeah, it's a new toy for me. I haven't figured everything out. But yeah, just I would say, you know,
Cool.
getting around and getting to commands that you wouldn't get to otherwise. That's where its power is. So big sessions that have lots, you know, it basically, you can show 40 channels in little squares on the front. So if you've got an 80 channel session, you can go whoop, and there's the second 40, and whoop, and you're back to the first 40, and you can go, oh, mute, that one, and then they're all muted. So like it's pretty quick in terms of that, as opposed to on the screen. And you can also make the Pro Tools screen respond to the commands that you do on the iPad. So if you focus on something on the iPad, you can make your screen follow it, or you can make it independent. So depending on how you like to work, you can, keep those separated or have them dependent. So that's good stuff. So, but yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to show you guys today. Sean, did you have any other?
Could I ask the brain trust a question while we're
absolutely,
here?
absolutely.
Yeah. If this is a misuse of time, let me know. But,
no, not at all. No.
Could be related. So sample rate question. So I've been mixing at 32-bit float, and still not sure what the benefits are. But one downside is that, let's say I print a pass internally, like set up all my routing, print a pass into Pro Tools, and then export it at 44 or 48. Sometimes I hear clipping that I wasn't hearing in the box. So someone tell me if that's what's happening. But let's say like I, print a loud mix at 32-bit float. It's pretty hard to hear clipping inside of Pro Tools. When I do export it out and downsample, I hear clipping. So
how are you downsampling, and are you doing some sort of soft shaping, or what's your method of are you dithering? What's going on there?
Usually I dither inside of whichever like limiter I'm using. Although I'm trying to start mixing with less limiters, which means that my mixes are, more prone to like clipping. So my export method is just print a pass inside, and then to use a shortcut, Shift Command K, export it out. And that's where I do my downsample, like select the sample rate.
Are you responsible for your own mastering, or are you sending stuff out to be mastered?
So this is happening when I'm mixing and mastering for clients. If I'm sending it off to some mastering house, I'll send them the 32-bit wave, and there'll be no clipping. So,
but are they angry at you because you're giving them a file that's so hot?
I mean, if they are, sometimes they ask for more headroom, but
yeah. If you want them to do something to it, they have to reduce it to do something to it. So you're working at cross purposes there. I've had a number of mastering engineers give me the evil eye for giving them something that was too close to clipping.
Yeah.
And now that I master for people too, I understand why. There's no point to forcing someone to lower the volume before doing mastering moves to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm completely aware of that mindset, of all mindsets.
But also, who's getting the file at the end? Where's it going?
So, if I'm in this downsampling case, exporting some 44.1 to send to the client, and then they're uploading it to streaming or whatever their DSP.
So the streaming, and I've learned this by bad experiences. There are a number of streaming venues that if you get to digital zero, you are causing problems.
Yeah. How much headroom is in your mix that you're exporting?
So, talking about streaming, like typically I mix to between -11 and -9 LUFS. And I'm using, like, if you know the plugin loudness penalty, things like that will like give me the codec of Spotify or of YouTube. So
have you found that to be accurate?
They at least represent the limiting that those services add. It's hard to like A/B if it's actually the sonic quality of Spotify or whatever. But
to give you a reference, my mixes, and I've been told I print pretty hot. My mixes go between -12 and -15 LUFS.
Yeah. So I did mix to -14 for a while because I know that's the Spotify target. But then if you listen in Spotify with normalization off, you lose the fight. Your mixes are like quieter than everyone else's. So.
Well, that's what the mastering engineer does.
Ooh.
We lost you. We can't hear you. So the question you're asking and the scenario that I think you're pointing to is different. I don't think it's because you're going from 32-bit float to 44.1 that you're having a problem. It's that you're very high in your levels. You're pushing the maximum, and you're trying to then put it into a format that has less dynamic range.
How
And-
much headroom before clipping is in the final mix? Like half a dB, 0.3 dB.
Or you right up at 0.
Can you guys hear me again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how I would determine that. Like usually I'm monitoring LUFS.
Yeah, but does it peak at 0?
I mean, yeah, like I'm hitting red in Pro Tools. Pretty
Yeah, well, that's going to
consistently.
distort when you export those. That's going to distort. You got to do it so it does not.
So here's
not
my
too
here's my actual question to you guys. Does anyone know of a plugin that allows me to monitor a mix at different sample rates? Like I know Streamliner, and there's a couple plugins that allow you to monitor codecs, but I can't find anything for a sample rate.
I've used the Sonics one.
That one seems to only have like AAC files.
Yeah, that's different codecs, but that still doesn't help you with the if you're that close to 0, you should expect some crap outs when you're changing your files.
Yeah,
it's just not, you're lucking out and you're listening in Pro Tools, which has a headroom that's ridiculous. And then the minute you export to almost anything, if you've got clipping going on, it's going to crap out and it's going to be ugly. So,
and what do you call it when you master too close to 0 and everything looks good, but it aliases over the top of it, so it actually clips? It doesn't show it. So some of the plugins from Isotope will actually adjust for that automatically. Nugent plugins adjust for that.
So
I just can't remember the technical term.
You don't mean the match in Isotope, right? You don't mean the match plugin.
No, when
the match plugin.
Sometimes when you're trying to get up close to 0 and it actually shows on the meter that you're at 0 or maybe even minus 0.5 or minus 1 dB, everything looks good, but the fact of the matter is it's actually clipped. Aliasing, is that what it's called?
It's not called aliasing. That's something different.
It's like in between sample clipping or whatever. Like I can't think of the word, but
there are these
that will cause that noise.
The meters have a specific selection of how many samples they're judging, and if that is long and it doesn't show clipping until 4 samples go over, then when you have a 2 sample over, it won't show it on your meter, but it's still clipping.
Right. That's what I was trying to explain.
So you can be more restrictive with what you're looking at. And Pro Tools gives you a whole lot of metering options these days, plus plugins that do all kinds of crazy metering, including Ozone. Insight actually is pretty fun at that. And which LUFS meter are you using, Ellis, to judge?
I'm using the Waves WLM. Yeah.
I've had a harder time getting that one to be totally revealing to me. Especially when I was going to Spotify, I felt like it was allowing me to do more damage because it was underzealous.
Yeah.
And I felt like an Insight was a little more revealing, and the fact that you can go into the plugin and actually adjust what its settings are. Whereas the Waves one is like, here's what you got. And even when you change the wave setting to be like different LUFS targets, and then you're measuring that, there were times when I felt like, or actually I measured that even what I set it for was not what I was getting when I did the bounce.
Yeah.
So when I take it back in and measure it again, it would be different. So be careful with that one.
I have Insight as well. I can switch over to that.
Yeah.
I just want to clear my name for a second, though. I play nice with mastering. I'm totally a fan of headroom, but the game now in commercial mixing is as loud as you possibly can.
Yeah, not as much as it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, five years ago. Because a lot of the streaming services are turning stuff down that is overly squished.
But here was my thought with that, because I mixed to -14 for a couple months and I was loving it. But the services, they could change their standards tomorrow, and then my mixes are forever baked at a quieter level. And
they're going. All the streaming services are going. all of the streaming services are moving towards the TV LUFS algorithms. Like they're moving towards looking at the longitudinal waves and staying away from just peak stuff. So
Yeah.
I think one by one, they're not going to tell you what they're using, which is a drag. But you know, I have basically seen that, you know, when I've got peaking that's less than a dB from zero on a bunch of the streaming services, specifically YouTube and Spotify, I have had clipping and other horrible artifacts that I didn't want to be anywhere near. And even forced a client to go re-upload another version because every time it got to the peak of the song, I'd hear a nasty digital, and I'd be like, oh, what the hell is that? So, and it was a half dB problem.
Yeah. So I guess that brings me back to the root of the question, and we can totally get off this. I appreciate the time,
Right.
but
That's
you
a
know,
deep
ultimately,
subject. We should do
yeah.
another one of these and bring in Jonathan Weiner and a couple other people. It would be an awesome night.
Yeah. So for me, the goal, like it was trust your ears, right? And when you're mixing at a 24 bits, you can hear clipping, but when you're at 32-bit float, you don't hear it. So you can't really trust your ears at that point.
I think that as a professional, you're kind of you got to use your ears and your eyes and your knowledge of what's potentially going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
I used as someone who used to use 32-bit float and kind of went back to 24-bit. I found that the 32-bit float, the floating point math just didn't really add anything. Basically, you're like adding 8 extra bits for no purpose whatsoever. So I've kind of avoided it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And that's also that I've heard that from mastering engineers too.
Yeah, actually, two
that's
mastering
not just
engineers
my
were like,
BS.
just go to 24-bit. Don't give me the 32. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool.
But-
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
So that'll probably help. Like ultimately, like I've been on 2448 for a while now, and everything's been pretty happy. Now when it comes to like the stuff that you're mixing and mastering, if you're mixing and mastering your own stuff, leave yourself some headroom for mastering. And if your clients want to hear something louder, send them something that's got like 3 dB of gain reduction on it, and really slam something so that they have something to reference.
Yeah.
Because I've had that problem in the past where clients are like, it's not as loud as, because they don't know any better, and they also don't know what to listen for. Right. So send your clients whatever you need to make them happy, but also save that reference. If you're sending to a mastering engineer, save that reference to send to them as well. So you can be like, this is what the client's been hearing, so that they can match it by doing all their mojo to it.
Right.
But a lot of it really comes down to, it's not so much slamming it, but it's like subtly, artfully slamming it and doing it in stages rather than all at once. Like, for me, I have 4 different limiters on my master bus, and none of them are really touching it. Like I don't trust meters anyway, but none of them, like on the meter, are even hitting it. If I see a meter go off, I raise the threshold. So it's all like, it's that idea of like, if you have one person trying to lift something heavy, it's so much harder than if you have 4 people trying to lift something heavy. Yeah. So each one is just doing a little bit with a little processing in between and kind of creating this overall like amalgam of loudness, as opposed to like just trying to hit it all at once. And that'll ease up on the distortion, some of the clipping that you're hearing, just by like having different things at different stages subtly approach it. I mean, I don't know if the 32-bit is, I don't think it's really beneficial. And I think if you feel like it's hurting, go back to 24. You'll be a happier guy.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm winding up now.
And I do use 96K especially for people who I think might want an HD release later. So if they're jazzy or acoustic or precious sounding, and I want that high def possibility later, I like working at that realm. If it's more like hard hitting, hip hop, then I don't work at 96. I work at 48. So it depends, what the output is and where it's going. John.
Yes.
You do a lot of releases that end up being broadcast. What's the rule of thumb there these days, or do you have to find out the destination and ask what they want every time?
Yeah, usually you just you have to look up whatever standards are for your delivery network and just follow those. And sometimes they're well written, and other times they're confusing.
But it's like it's different if it's NBC than it is for WGBH.
I actually can't answer that. I don't know that, Dan.
Okay.
But like Discovery Network would, it's like I see it more for things that have to go to like a cable kind of thing. I think the major networks are pretty much all the same. At least that's what I would understand.
I know the festivals that I'm doing some post for have very strict rules about how loud the DVDs can be, and if we're going to send them digital versions of the movie, there's really strict rules about how it peaks and how loud the whole thing is, and if I exceed that, they basically reject the entry. So I was assuming that I haven't done as much for TV. I'm curious if it's.
Yeah, actually, I haven't done. I mean, more of the stuff I would say for me anyway would be on the independent, like film festival circuit level. But like, if something's going to be shown in theaters versus, for like a DVD
Broadcast.
release, then or broadcast, then you're going to have different things for sure to deal with. But
So that series you were doing live from your place, that was. Did they have limits on your
celebrity series, you mean?
Yeah.
No, like with the streaming, it's you just do what you want to do with that. So we're just doing the best we can to try some stuff out, but not push it too hard into distortion. Because I find, like you did, like things like with YouTube and whatnot, it's easy to get them to go into clipping where you wouldn't think you would. So I try to be a little more conservative with that, and I don't find I find that's a better approach anyway.
Yeah, there are a couple of things on YouTube that were put up of my mixing that I cringe every time I get to one specific spot where I know the person who mastered it pushed it too far to be on YouTube.
Yeah,
and I wait for it, and I hear that noise. So,
And how are you monitoring your headroom under 0, like you asked me?
Oh, I mean, just
peak
Pro
meter.
Tools
Yeah.
on the meter. Just switching to your headroom mode on your meters on a channel basis.
you guys know the Audio Suite gain plugin has a measurement device, right? So if you grab the entire song, you could hit analyze and it quickly tells you what the peak is. So if you are doing
which meter are you guys using when you're metering?
Sample
When mixing.
peak.
I mean, day in day out, it's just regular Pro Tools meters.
Pro Tools Classic.
Yeah, well, I'm on,
Nugent Master Check Pro is what I use.
but then I go to Insight when I'm doing anything for video stuff, for film, whatever.
Gotcha.
But I will. I want to share this.
I just got myself the Fab filter,
Yeah, that's
L2
awesome.
guy. It's a cool one.
Nice. It's a beautiful.
So- Can you guys see this?
Yep.
So the amount of choices we have now are deep.
Dan, I'm going to be joining that generation.
Really?
I put in my order today for the computer.
Cool. And what did you change controllers?
No, I'm going to be doing the Nairink for now.
Cool.
But I went ahead and got the absurd tower.
Cool.
So
That'll be fun.
yeah, except it's going to ship with Big Sur, so I got to downgrade it to Catalina. So that'll be not fun.
No. But I haven't actually gone through and tried to listen to all these different variations.
Well, you don't listen to them.
Well, I mean, you look at them and you listen and you think, does it make sense with what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you leave it on a certain setting? Sean, what's your...
I use digital VU.
That's what I've been
on my
on for a
track
while.
meters. It keeps me honest.
And I have my master on linear. But
I will say when
it's a habit.
when tracking,
Yep.
when tracking, I like using Pro Tools Classic.
For what reason? What is it?
I feel like
You
for
know
me,
it?
just looking at the meter, if I'm looking at the meter, I get better levels when I do it.
I'm just also just checking to see if there's a... yeah, there's a 0 dB, a dBFS thing, and there's a decay time. So you can kind of get in there and tweak it and look at it. I haven't been nerdy enough with that, or maybe I've been just nerdy enough. But I've been okay with the settings I've got. But you get used to it though, too. Meters are definitely one of the... I also have a Doro meter on my console. So it's coming from my Grace, so it's smart. If I'm listening to stuff from Spotify, it's on there. If I'm listening to you guys talk, it's on there. If it's coming from Pro Tools, it's following what I'm monitoring. So I like having that, and it's a good meter. It tells me peaks really well. I can see, it helps me with the mastering and with the mix bus levels.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
I found that super helpful, just having a meter for listening to regular program and stuff like that, because you get the reference. So what it's supposed to look like.
There's a Doro Waves plugin now too. You can get their fanciest meters and put them up on your screen. But I haven't tried to match the meters in Pro Tools to the Doro or anything. But that sounds like a wormhole to go down sometime. All right. Any other questions, or should we wrap this puppy up?
Hope everybody has a good week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays back at you.
Thanks for having it.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
riddance 2020. Won't miss you.
We need an upgrade in the year department.
Yes.
If you guys dig into those plugins and have any loves or hates, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but thank you all for showing up.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks for your hard work.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thanks.
Here.
Merry Christmas.
Have a good night. Thanks for the good
Bye.
questions too.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
I'll be in touch, Dan.
That'll be great.